Hi! So the first book that I want to talk about on my book talk is The Kite Runner by Khaled Housseini. And I hope I said that correctly. If not, please correct me. So I read A Thousand Splendid Suns, which is another one of his books, when I was doing my English literature alongside Wuthering Heights. And I read A Thousand Splendid Suns and Wuthering Heights because of feminism, learning about women's rights in different countries, in different cultures, in different parts of the world, in different time periods. A Thousand Splendid Suns, I fell in love with it. I read it all in about 2 days. Did I ever finish Wuthering Heights? No. Did I actually ever read it? No, I think I read like a third of it, and then I just looked at all on Cliff Notes. I cheated. But I never did the degree. I never did the course, the subject. Like, I never finished it. I quit and changed to history. That was a mistake. I'm going so off topic. Yes, I read A Thousand Splendid Suns, and I fell in love with it. I fell in love with his writing because it's raw, it's poetic, it makes you feel a million things. It makes you love and hate and envy and despair, and that's what a book should do. I always think a book should make you feel 1,001 emotions. You should love the characters and hate the characters and want to be the characters and not want anything to do with the characters and bring you as part of this world. I think that's what a real book should be doing. And this book was absolutely no different. The Kite Runner. The Kite Runner, I wanted to read it after I read A Thousand Splendid Suns, but I didn't have it at home, and I kind of just never bought it. And then I joined a Facebook group in Korea, so if you're ever in Korea, or if you live in Korea, you can join this Facebook group, and it's a second-hand English exchange for books. And I saw this, it was like 5,001, and I was like, I'll get it, I'll go pick it up. And I'm so glad I did, because this book, again, the way this author writes, the way Housseini, I'm really sorry if I pronounce this wrong, I don't know, I'm trying, but the way he writes, the way he absolutely writes each of the books I've read 2 of his, he takes you on a story, and I love learning history through fiction. I love learning a piece of a country's history through a fictional character's eyes, because it makes it raw. It makes it, I feel like you can understand it more. I feel that if you're reading through the character's eyes of someone living it, you can understand it more than when it's written on a page, because sometimes you gloss through something and sometimes you race through it to finish the chapter, but maybe it's just me, but I find having a fictional character's eyes to look through while reading really helps me learn the history. So I read this maybe a month ago, and it helped me learn more about Afghanistan. Afghanistan, I think, is a place where a lot of Western people like me don't know much about. And I think it's due to sheer ignorance that we don't know it a lot of the time. So learning about it is important, imperative. So I wanted to do my thoughts about this, but I had to write them down because there's so many. I loved reading through Amir's eyes, and I think it was a very good idea to read through his eyes, because you see Amir and his father, who are well off in the society that they live in. They are one of the richest families, and you see how they're doing so well in the first part, and then Russia attacks Afghanistan, and then the freedom fighters or the Taliban take over, and you see how it changes, and you see how Amir grows up, and he starts off as this ignorant, this naive child with a best friend, but he doesn't treat him like a best friend. And Hassan, I can never be angry at Hassan, I love Hassan, but Amir, you want to hate him for a long time, but you have to realize he's a child. And I think it's such a conflict you have to come to terms with. Children get scared. Adults get scared. Children are terrified. Children don't want to be in trouble. They don't want to get hurt. So they'll protect themselves, whether it's right or wrong. And so you see Amir grow up in this first naive state. And then it moves to this ignorant teenager because he's learning, but he's refusing to truly learn. And then he's chasing his father's admiration, his father's love. Because that's all children want, is to be loved by their parents, to be accepted by their parents, to have their parents be proud of them. And you feel that when he's an adult, he's learning to live with the guilt of what he's done. And I think all people are like that. We know when we're a child, when we were a child, we made mistakes that we can't change because it's in the past, but they are still part of us. And so you see Amir grow up and change eventually, but it takes a lot longer. A book that makes you feel emotions is so important because I think it shows that it is a good book. If you can feel a range of emotions for the characters and the story and the plot and what happens, you have a great book. Did I cry reading this book? Yes. Did I flail my legs in anger and my cat got annoyed with me? Yes. Did I think if I was a child, I would have done differently to Amir? I would hope I would have done. But it's a child. He is a child. We don't know. When I was a child, I was a coward. When I was a child, I just wanted to please my parents. I just wanted to do what was right, but I wanted to make sure my parents were proud of me. I still do. So I think as a child, if I was a child in his situation, would I have done the same thing? Maybe. I'd hope not, but maybe. Being able to see the history of Afghanistan, of Kabul, through Amir's eyes, and then you learn of what happens when he leaves, and you learn of how he tries to reconcile this, to try and forgive himself. This is a beautiful story. I completely recommend reading this book. It is poetically written, it is raw, and it is beautiful. And I hope to read And the Mountains Echoed soon because I recently bought that as well, so I'll keep you updated when I read that. If you read it, please let me know. And if you have any recommendations similar to this or not, please let me know in the comments. And I hope you enjoy reading.